I call them Baltimore's Mount Rushmore. Unitas, Brooks, Ray Lewis, Cal Ripken. Johnny had a great sense of humor. I was talking to him one time, we were doing a story, this was in the mid-90s, and of course salaries for football players and quarterbacks had gone through the roof. So I said to him, I said, you got Aikman and Elway and Favre, these guys are making $4 or $5 million a year. You never had this payday. If you were playing today, John, what do you think you'd make? He said, I don't know, probably about $1 million. I said, $1 million bucks? I said, John, you're the greatest quarterback ever. He said, Steve, I'm 65. It's Ray Lewis, the most controversial of all these athletes, there's no doubt about it. He's had highs and lows. I've been critical at times of him over the years. This interview is in his house before the Tennessee Titans game, the year of the Super Bowl. I've been after Ray for a while to do an interview because that, of course, was the year of the fiasco in Atlanta and the murder trial. And so finally during the playoffs, he said, come over and watch some film with me. So we're watching film of the Tennessee Titans, and he was such a student of the game. He said, watch this, and we're sitting there, and he's got the screen up, fast forwarding, rewinding, all that. He said, every time Eddie George does this with his leg, it's a run. Every time he does this with his leg, and it was the smallest, it was like its toe pointed this way or that way, it's a pass. And he showed me 10 examples. And he said, did the coaches tell you that? He said, nope, just pick that up on my own. So I made a decision that I was not going to put that in my story because I didn't want to give it away and make Ray mad. But the one thing about Ray is that, say what you want, a polarizing figure. I've never been around a guy that had more passion to be great and to play his game and to love his game. I think the passion he has is real. A memory I have with Ray is after the Super Bowl at the team hotel, there's a big celebration. And he walks by me and I say, hey, Ray, congratulations. A ton of people, you're not going to have a meaningful conversation with anyone. And he said, I told you I was going to rewrite the story because on this night we were chatting and he said, I need to win the Super Bowl to change the story about me. And I'm going to do that. I said, you really think they'll forget about what happened in Atlanta? He said, they'll never forget, but they'll have something else to talk about afterwards. And I think that there is a greatness to this guy that a lot of people probably don't appreciate. To me, this, in a nutshell, sums up why Cal Ripken was so great. A few years ago, he was the honorary chairman for the Senior Champions Tour event that was out at Hayfields. And they had an event for the media, and it was a media day to come and play in this event, to see the course. People in the media love free stuff, by the way. So I actually missed the golf that day, but I went out for the press conference. And I see him as I'm walking in, and he says, where were you? I said, I had a story to do. I said, well, what are you doing here? He said, well, I was out on one of the par threes, whatever hole I forget, and every time a media group came by, I'd hit a shot. Now, the last time I had seen Cal, I had asked him about his golf game. He said, oh, it stinks. I'm not playing at all. I haven't had any time. So I said, how did you do? He said, oh, I did pretty well today. I said, really? You've been playing more? He said, no. He said, this morning I woke up early and I went out to Caves Valley at 7 in the morning and I went out and got a lesson and practiced so I'd be on my game. I said, you did that for the media? But that was Cal. Cal was never and is never going to do anything unless he's going to do it great. I mean, to think that he would make sure that he was on his game for that was shocking unless you know Cal. One time we were doing a public service announcement and it was Brooks, Lenny Moore, Hall of Famer, Chuck Thompson, Hall of Famer, and me. Who was the odd guy in this foursome? So Brooks and I were talking, and somehow it comes up that my brother's nickname growing up was Little Brooksy, which it's quite common in Baltimore. But we were in Boston. That tells you how transcendent Brooks was, that you'd adopt a nickname of a rival. So I tell him the story, tell him he's an attorney, he's a federal prosecutor now, and 20 minutes later, I'm leaving and walking out, and all of a sudden I hear, Steve, Steve! It's a ball from Brooks. Give that to your brother. It says, to Brooksy, from the real Brooksy, Brooks Robinson.